Start streaming. Start streaming. Oh, I'm live. Hey, it's been a while. We're going to test the audio. Might hear double audio for a second. Ooh, that sounds pretty. I sound pretty. New mic, new setup, new life, new everything. So, yeah, I'm Steve the Book Guy. I do book things and vintage things and buy and sell and kind of live like an alternate life just because of the way the world is right now. So some of the stuff I look at is actually pretty interesting. Really old stuff. This is right here, what we're about to flip through, isn't all that old, but I got stuff from like World War II and everything down here. Life size. When I say life, I mean Life magazine size. And we're just going to flip through it. I'm going to look for ads, and this is kind of what I do with my evenings. So I thought maybe somebody would find it interesting. I find it interesting. And then, I catch up on current events and study different things that might be going on. I like to read court cases and catch up on what's going on with COVID. My wife is immunocompromised, so I study the stuff religiously. Some might call me a doomer. I don't argue with people anymore. I just listen to the stuff. The first thing I'm going to watch while we're going through the magazines, and I'll pause the videos when we come across something interesting in the magazine, or if somebody ends up in the chat and they say, hey, stop, I want to see something. So, but we're just going to chill out. I'm going to do my thing. I probably will forget the chat's there, and I'm going to try to let my inner monologue come out. If somebody hangs out, great. If not, this is what I'd be doing anyway, so yeah, we'll just jump right in. This is Lord Bethel on long COVID. Let me pull up this YouTube video right quick. So obviously with COVID and everything, I don't know if Twitch is going to get all pissy with me talking about it, but I'm not going to say anything that isn't backed up by science. I'm not that guy. I'm not a conspiracy guy. If you're looking for that here, you're looking in the wrong place. Peer review and all that good stuff is our friend. We like logic and facts, and we verify everything. So long COVID is becoming more and more of a thing. More and more people are struggling. So with my wife, with her health, it's something we take very seriously, so we stay pretty abreast of what's going on. We're going into winter, which is going to be a little gnarly. And certain countries, not necessarily our country, I'm from the States, is taking this stuff kind of any seriously. So I'm kind of looking at what's happening internationally, because this is going to be a problem. I know it's not really mainstream and everything yet, but it's coming down the pipeline. This right here, I believe is, and I'm not super up on British politics. I know they got a new king. I know Boris is out. I know the next lady was out. I know the cabbage lasted longer than her, apparently, or lettuce or whatever it was. I know like the barest of the bare. I don't know the day to day. So I do not know who Lord Bethel is. I do know he's talking about long COVID. I found this link from a reputable doctor source. Let's look up and see what the channel is real quick. Oh, it's the House of Lords, and it's from him. He does not have a lot of subscribers, but that's not uncommon for like personal pages. So this if it's on his page, it's probably something that he gave a speech on. So with everything, we'll take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what his politics are. If he starts talking weird, we'll just turn it off and do the next thing. So, but we're going to let that play in the background, and then we're going to look at this thing down here, which is the Saturday Evening Post. That's what we're really here to do. I've got a crate. I love milk crates, full of these things, and we're just kind of flip through them. So these have all been sitting in my antique mall booth. I have a booth up here from where I'm at. I do pretty well in it. Traffic's pretty good. I'm sure eventually some of you guys will end up on here because I'll start advertising this channel if it's something we commit to. I have already tried to sell these in the booth. I do like to keep magazines together if they're intact. But I have tried to sell these multiple times, and there has to be a certain amount of value there to be listed on eBay or something like that for it to be worth it. This isn't one I think. So what I'm saying is I cut these up. Like if I'm not being clear. If they have vintage Coke ads, especially in the older magazines, the 40s, 30s, 20s, and things of that nature, it's pretty great. So you can really, really find some really great value. And it's crazy. I can't sell a magazine for $3, but I can sell the ads in it for, more. You just got to do the extra work. So, but it's also neat, I think, as you're flipping through these, finding the ads, to kind of see different things that have happened throughout history in the context and in the time period in which they happened. Like, what were people saying boots on the ground in the Spanish flu, right? What are those headlines like? Was it similar to now? Like, giving grace for, postcards versus text messages and things of that nature. But it's just neat. It's just neat. That's why I'm doing this. And if you guys like it, great. If not, I'm going to do it anyway. So this is the Saturday Evening Post from 1969. The cover says how Barney Rossett publishes dirty books for fun and profit. Well, there you go. Apparently the 60s was going into the 70s. I believe the love revolution, something to that effect, was going to happen shortly. So let's just dig in. I'm seeing the covers here. I think that's, oh God, what's his name? I should know this. This right here is a really expensive cover. I've seen this before, I believe. But anyway, let's flip through it. Can you guys see that? Okay, you guys can. Let me center that up. Super neat. I don't know who this guy is. So the back cover ad is usually sometimes a really good one. It's usually color, most magazines. It also gets a lot of damage, so sometimes, whatever. It's also kind of nice to see kind of how they were selling books. Like, how was commerce done during that time? Like, how, like book club editions. If you're a book person and you collect vintage books, you're very well aware that there used to be book clubs and just kind of it's just different. So it's neat to think about. General Electric, this ad is cool, but not really worth messing with. Not too many. You got to think of who buys them, right? Like, who's collecting them. Like, what restaurant is going to frame them and put them in their restaurant? Like, car ads, travel ads, popular brands. Like, this is pretty all right. I don't know if this is old enough. So, like, is the Coronet, I hope I'm saying that right, is that a popular car? I'm not a car guy. I'm a nerd guy, so I don't know. I'll probably ask my wife. My wife, is a Dodge Coronet from 1969 a popular car? Or is it like meh? I
honestly don't know that one.
I don't know either.
I can look it up later.
Someday I will have a chat, and then they will tell me, but I'll have to look it up later.
What year?
1969. I'm going to get you a microphone, I think, at some point. Dude, my wife is actually looking it up, so we'll just keep flipping. Hunger is all, it's sad. Cut this out and burn it. Now tell us it's the first cigarette you've lit in a year. Rah. So even in 1969, so I guess like smoking was like crazy popular in the 50s, right? Like at its peak. I mean, you look through the advertising during that time, you can kind of tell that it was popular. And it's interesting to see this as early as 1969. I wonder, so something I'll keep an eye out for, like, when did the public opinion change? When did it go from, holy crap, we're giving people cancer, we should stop giving people cancerous sticks of death? And when did that become a marketing campaign? So it's interesting, like, to say, ooh, here's a good one, full spread. Is that a popular car? Did you find out? My wife's over there. She's always over there. I love her face. Ooh, come show us.
Okay, it says that
Come show us.
The Coronet 440 series was the #1 seller among the 1969
Oh yeah, look
Dodge
at that
lineup, with 5 models that were available.
So this car here, right? So this is an ad. See, and you learn shit.
Oh my goodness! It offered a 9-passenger wagon model.
That's a
for
big car.
Consumer model.
Look at this.
A big car.
1969. They're already telling people to stop to smoke.
That was a big
right here. Is that it there? This it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's the exact one right there.
Oh, cool. All right. I need to come up with like a marking system.
That's cool.
What do I have? I should have thought this through, but I didn't. So that's okay. What is it? That was like the green. That was the green in the 60s, man. Like the jadeite, all that was the jam. Avocado, like into the 70s, which is like a deeper green. Personally, I like the depression glass, which I don't know if you can see it behind me, but it's that stuff that's lit up. It's like really old glass that has uranium. I'm slowly either melting to death or getting superpowers. I'm not sure which. Maybe a little bit of both. We'll just kind of see how it plays out. Don't know. What do you think? Superpowers or melting to death, Ashley? Superpowers. We got to vote for superpowers. Oh my God. We should do this like a radio show, and like you're my off-screen person that I get to talk to so I don't go crazy. Off camera? Yeah. Like the Howard Stern show or something. Oh my God. We could just do it all day. Welcome to the Stash Collectibles TV show. It runs for 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do what? Oh, don't get distracted. I'll shut up. I'm leaving her alone. All right. Anyway, I'm looking for a way to mark this, but I think I don't have an easy way. So we're just going to use a pen, making sure it's not out. So that's a good one. So I will, I'm not going to cut this whole magazine up because it's whole. But if somebody really wanted this ad and was going to pay me to do it, cut it out, send it right to you. Got to pay the bills, friend. Cool is cool. So anyway, moving on. This is cool. A Capri, Chevrolet Capri. I think it's Capri. It's a double spread. Is it in the center staple? So I could take this out. I think it's harder to sell the double spreads. The frames are more expensive. But this is the kind of stuff that we're looking for. The car stuff sells real well. Ooh, communism. Oh, they've been screaming about that for years, man. Not to be a butthead, but probably a lot of people you talk to that use that word don't even know what that word means. But that's for another day. I do tend to stay away from the cigarette stuff, even though I did like that other ad. Like I did, like I might cut that out and like do like a bundle of like anti-cigarette smoking campaign. I think it's neat stuff, and plus, if nothing else, it's neat to throw in a video to kind of like show people that it exists, and just kind of see how like public health and marketing kind of marries itself together. And how that has happened throughout the years in America. And then think about that in relation to kind of maybe what's been going on with COVID and maybe where some of the messaging has missed the mark, you know, because the science and the messaging seems to be doing this a lot. But again, another day. And I want to be careful talking about that stuff coming out of the gate. I don't know what the rules are. Again, we won't ever say anything that can't be verified. We are not those. I'm not trying to be demeaning. Everyone can think what they want, but we do try to back the things up that we say. The enigma of President Nixon. This is an interesting ad here. The Sony Super Scope. I don't know what this is going on. I think this, God, was that called rattan? Is this kind of wicker stuff? I know that stuff, it's like people collect it now. So if you have that stuff in your house, don't just chuck it. So, you know what? That could be what this channel is about. Telling you guys know what not to chuck. Don't chuck stuff without getting it checked. My goodness. I mean, please do. I mean, that's how I get it, which sometimes makes me sad. But I feel like sometimes I'm like a knight standing before the trash can for some of this stuff. Because I've found some pretty crazy stuff, and I'll show you some of it. I don't keep hardly any of this stuff because you just come across so much of it. But oh, this is cool. The New Washington. The artwork there is kind of neat. The style. I get distracted easily, so if I just kind of go off at a thought and don't finish it, sorry. Ooh, look at this. LBJ's Great Society. They have been ripping on folks forever, haven't they? I think this is a cool print. Like, there are LBJ collectors out there. So, but like, how many of them are there, right? So this would be something like if I did end up cutting this magazine, I usually just create like bundles, and this would go into a bundle. But that's cool. That's neat. I can't make out who drew it, but and I'm not 100% sure what it's trying to communicate here. Well, it's just this particular art. My wife is actually, yeah. Well, maybe you can give us some context. It says, a distinguished Washington correspondent assesses the departing administration. That so large a man as Lyndon Johnson was brought so low is, if not quite Aristotelian. I've never seen that word ever in my whole life, and I see a lot of words. Aristotelian? What does that even mean? We got to look that up. See, this is how it happens. This is why we know so much. All right, Lord Bethel. I'd
like to start by
no, Lord Bethel, not yet, or ever. Again, I kind of want to play it cool because I don't know if like they're gonna get all mad about talking about the COVID stuff. So I don't know if I want to jump in, but we're gonna watch this because it is about long COVID. And to be clear, some of the symptomology of long COVID is very similar to what my wife's disability is. And I'm hoping beyond hope. We've been on this journey for 20 years. That is when they advance that science, maybe there's a lot more people that could get helped. As rising tides raise all ships, as the saying goes. And if they figure out how to repair certain damage, if the damage that, blah, 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 y'all get it. But so I'm paying attention. There's hope. There's always hope. Sometimes COVID shook up the frying pan and people are trying to learn some stuff. So if we benefit, everybody benefits. So how to publish dirty books. I've already forgotten that word. We'll look that up later. I'm going to write it down. Did you look it up?
Based off of Aristotle's teachings like deductive reasoning, things like that.
Oh, okay. Well, does that even fit in context? Sometimes you'd be shocked. Even professionals will write something out of context or a word and just it's not right. It doesn't make any sense.
Or it's something that in their mind they know it makes sense.
Yeah. And you always want to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? I'm not saying like I'm some super smart guy that's like, I'm just saying, they make mistakes too. So if it looks funny, I mean, first, just assume you're wrong and see how it could be right from their perspective is always a good kind of like, I guess, process or boundary, because you don't want to like be that guy, right? You want to, because you should assume the professional is probably right over our uneducated butt. So we don't want to fall victim to hubris or however that's pronounced. But every once in a while, it's worth going, because if they fail that first test, the second test is they're probably wrong, and then or maybe it was the wrong word choice and it meant something else. It's still innocent, but communicating is hard. Like people, I don't think give it the respect that it really deserves. Words matter. Like just look at the last administration. It's just words matter, and people in positions of authority need to respect it. It's a big deal to me. I won't vote for you if you don't respect the pulpit. Kidnapped by Arthur Miller. I think that's a popular. Am I thinking Arthur Haley? I don't know who Arthur Miller is. So, who's Arthur Miller? Oh, she's looking it up. Maybe I do know. I don't know what that's a cool ad. Red, white, and new Campbell's soup. It's a Super Bowl ad. What?
Arthur Miller wrote The Crucible.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was that it? Is that his big thing? My wife says that Arthur Miller wrote The Crucible.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And then, what?
He was married to Marilyn Monroe.
He was married to Marilyn Monroe. Well done.
Playwright, screenwriter, Death of a Salesman.
Oh, Death of a Salesman. Yeah. That art. Okay. I did know.
Yeah. I was like,
She's right.
You know who Arthur Miller is.
She's right. She's always right. We're going to mark this red, white, and new. That is a cool ad. Let's pull up eBay and let us. Ooh, we got paid and a new offer. We'll look at that later. That's always fun. What are we doing? Forgot already. Red, white, new, Campbell's Super Bowl, which is just adorable. Uncut. I'm enclosing 60 cents in 3 different labels checked below for each bowl ordered. So I guess these were different, and I guess they changed for each bowl. And I guess there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. I'm gonna. That's. Look at this. Oh, you guys can't really see it. Hold on. Durr. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, this is the ad that we're looking at here. Is this ad here? So people do what I do, and people buy the snot out of this stuff because it looks awesome in a frame. It looks awesome in a frame, and very few people take the time to, sit and go through a stack of it. Takes time, and then you got to sit and sell it and list it. And you're only getting $4, $5, $6 per. So, but that's neat, and I like doing it, and we're sitting here doing it together, so everybody wins. So that's what I'm saying. Even if no one comes to watch, I'm going to do this anyway, so we might as well hang out. So that's neat. Here's one of the, oh, look at that. Super, I apologize. Super Stars. Here it is, Chicken and Stars, right? Oh, you can't see. Hold on. Chicken and Stars is, yeah, this is the ad. It's like a whole, I wonder what a complete set. So this one cup's $25. That's hilarious. Yeah, I remember. I think they still sell it, to be honest. Oh, someone's having a good time. Whoop, whoop. So that's interesting. That's fun. I like this. That's a good time. So we're going to mark this one. This is a good one. So what does that say? Let's throw that there. All righty. So that's fun. The transistor generation. How fun is that? I don't even know what it means. I guess transistors were new, or is this a type of clothing? Let's read it. It says, they were born in the same year as the transistor, 1947. So that was 2 years-ish after the World War II. They have come to age together. So I mean, it's like saying cell phone generation or whatever else. Transistors were a big deal, I mean, look at the technology just from the 30s to the 50s. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild how sometimes I think technology moves faster than human evolution, and I think that can get us in trouble sometimes. But existentialism and nihilism will be for another stream. Before you take off, learn to fly. I guess in the 50s and 60s, Pan Am here, that was a huge brand. And I think, and you can't quote me on this, but I think they went belly up at some point. But traveling used to be like cool. Like it was sophisticated, especially as it was a new technology, More cigarettes. I've never even heard of this brand. That's kind of cool. The style's different. You can kind of see because we're still in the 60s here, but you can start to see the beginnings of kind of like the 70s style, which is interesting. I do like looking at magazines and stuff because when you're out and about and you're looking for stuff and you're going through estates and you're trying to help people figure out what they've got, it's nice to kind of like be able to look at something and stylistically go, okay, that's from early 70s, it's 60s. So, because it can give you clues to maybe something else that you're looking at. And then each time, you kind of put a little story together of maybe who owned the stuff. And I just find it really neat. I find it neat. It's not all coffee and donuts. It's Red Cross. Can you guys see that? Yeah, this one here. It's Red Cross, help with an emergency leave. It's being there to lend a hand. It's a cable to Vietnam. Was that Vietnam? Vietnam was late 60s, Ashley? 65 to 75. Oh, wow. 65 to 75. So this is smack dab in the middle. Yep. 69. Wow. Well, I always think Vietnam is early 60s. Is that the Korean War that is?
Korean War was...
Or was that after Vietnam? Say it again, hon. I'm sorry.
Mid-late 50s.
Okay.
It was mid-50s, and then it was Vietnam Vietnam in the early 60s.
I wish you guys could hear her. She's laying it all out.
It's not incorrect.
So, in short, to repeat, so it kind of went World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, but she was kind of going into detail on how we were already in Vietnam, and she's a huge history buff. And then, so that's the timeline.
Don't start. Don't get me started.
I know. I'm going to get you a microphone and over here eventually, and I'm just going to ask you questions and let her rip. Don't think that that's not my ultimate goal.
I know you're sneaky.
I know. I'm sneaky, she says. Just motivated. Just super motivated. Anyway, your next car, the great new Chrysler. So, it's, again, another car ad, and this is slick. Look, I like this photo. I mean, this is something we'd shoot today. Reflection. By the way, I'm a professional photographer in another life. I'm kind of like a little Renaissance dude over here. I get bored a lot. But yeah, this is nice. Nice gradient. I mean, yeah, we'd shoot this today. Beautiful highlights, specular highlights. You can see here where the white was. They did that on purpose. It's beautifully shaped. So, yeah, well done to the photographer. Great eye for detail. See, and it's always interesting to me because they did this before Photoshop. Because, like, I don't know how they would do it. I have to learn the history of Photoshop. But my understanding, I mean, personal computers weren't really to, like, the 80s, right? They had the juice to run Photoshop. So they would have done this either in camera or some other composite way. I'm just impressed. I'm impressed. Well done. Oh, that's cool. Look at that art. American Motors Rambler, the only car this country has that fights back. The hell does that mean? America is present. Oh, again, Vietnam. We're in that context. America is presently occupied by about 4.5 million foreign cars, which is exactly why we built the Rambler. Most foreign cars get extraordinary mileage, and we don't do so badly either. Almost 24 miles. That's not bad, 24 miles to the gallon. I drive a little Nissan Versa and only get 30 miles to the gallon. Blah, blah, blah. Also, like the foreigners, man, they just say it out, don't they? They don't even care. Now, remember, a lot of our parents, I'm middle-aged. I'm probably an old millennial, early 80s I was born.
Younger than me.
Younger than my wife. She's robbing the cradle. But, like, the people who raised our parents were these people, where this was normal. And we have to remember that. So a lot of the problems that we're having now are just, it literally is just societal progression or and you can't use the word progressive because everyone loses their mind, but that's what it is. I mean, you just see it generationally in the marketing and the advertising and how it changes. And it's interesting because the advertising is a reflection of the culture because it's designed to speak to that culture to engender an action. Now, yes, I know there's an argument to be said about how media marketing can control and engender behavior that isn't a reflection, but that's a whole nother deal. That's not what I'm talking about. But I acknowledge that exists, so don't yell at me later if someone watches this. Anyway, this is adorable. It's basically, rawr, we're here to beat the foreign cars. Our car, and like literally admits that the car isn't as good, but it's American, so buy it. And probably people did. I get it, like American pride, but like as someone who has to raise a family and every dollar counts, I'm not making that call. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You literally tell me your car is less. You're telling me I'm getting more other than a good feeling that get out of here with that. Jeez. And I'm a capitalist. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, but that I'm not. Don't try to manipulate me through my pride, you silly goose. Create a good car. I'll buy a good car. Make it a good value. If it's a little bit more expensive, but the value's there, I'll buy it. But if it's, come on, it's unfair of you to ask. I'm insulted that. Anyway, I'm rambling. God, I sound like an old man. Ooh, this is cool. To change the subject abruptly. These old radio stuff, I don't know if this is quite old, but it looks like it's like a replica of something older, but I don't really know. I need to learn more about this stuff. But somebody would want that. Let me look that up. It's not color. I do have a tendency to stay away from the ones that aren't color. just because it's just, it's sometimes it's just eye appeal. You want it to be able to catch your attention. It's almost like, just like being a photographer. If you want to sell prints, you got to create images that people want to hang up. It's just meeting a demand. I know a lot of artists that want to create what they want to create, and please do, like, have your passion projects, but understand that, like, there's time to be an artist and there's a time to be a craftsman. Sometimes you got to pay the bills, right? If you want to enable yourself to be able to do the art that you want, sometimes we have to be pragmatic about how we express ourselves. So having said all that in my little rant there, let me look this up, but I don't think this is going to be, it's the chairside phonograph. Chairside phonograph. Yeah, Oh, well, it helps if I spell it right. Nub. Let me come over here and show you this. So I guess, see, it's not really, let me write ad. Another thing that I want to point out while we're in here is that you see these green lines. It's because I've had sold and completed checked. So it's only showing me the listings that have actually sold. Money has actually exchanged hands. And that's important because when you price things, or when you sell things, or when you buy things, you really want to price it on what it's actually being sold at. Not what someone has it listed at. I could list anything at any price. So you can't use that as a measure. In the absence of any comparisons, maybe that is a bit of data to go on, but like, not the best, right? Because it's not definitive. You don't know, right? Nobody's actually bought it. You don't know if there's like 10 in existence, but if no one wants the 10 in existence, then the 10 are worthless. Not worthless, but you understand what I'm saying from a financial point of view. But anyway, so we're going to move on from that. I don't think this is anything. Let me switch back. Done that before, not switch back. I probably need to up the lighting on the magazine a bit, but we'll do that next time. I don't think it's so bad that we have to stop. Sometimes these little ads on here will get really unique. I don't really mess with them because this is not old enough. But on some of the 1900s, 1020s, like the turn of the century stuff, like the quack science is pretty interesting. I don't know if I have any in this deck here. So there was 2 in here, right? I think maybe when I put this on YouTube, I'll just speed all this up and just kind of show the 2 that will keep. Oh, is my dragon still going? So I play Raid Shadow Legends. So this is another thing I do. I just have this thing running in the background. But this way I can keep an eye on it and make sure it's gaining value. So this is a big one. And I have a thing in the back. And sometimes I use a little razor thing, I don't even remember what they're called. But there's that one. And I don't usually list these. I usually put these in my booth. I have there's quite a bit of traffic. So, and people love this stuff. And especially with this one, it's mint. I just have to not mess it up when I cut it out. And I have messed a lot of these up, especially on the more sometimes the newsprint paper will get brittle. If you collect comic books, it's when they start to brown and fall apart and stuff. It's same paper for the magazines in a lot of cases. And, but this one's in good shape, so that's good news. And I think there was another car one that we had Ashley look up, so that's cool. And this one cracks me up. So anyway, that's that one. Let me grab this next one. And I think I want to watch this video too at some point. Let me dig through these magazines and we'll pull up Lord Bethel, because I need to listen to what Lord Bethel has to say. So, let me switch scenes.
The noble Baroness
Test. Okay, audio sounds pretty good.
She's held the government's feet to the fire. In fact, she held my feet to the fire on this issue.
Again, I don't know who this guy is.
Persistence. My lord, rehabilitation in general and post-viral syndromes in particular have a long history in this country of being horribly overlooked, and that regretful neglect has contributed, I'm afraid, darkly to the long-term poor health of many in this nation. But before I speak of the consequences of this over long COVID, can I just take a moment to recognise that Britain has done more than almost any other country to address long COVID.
Obligatory
Professor Chris Whitley in the
backpatting.
CMO's office prioritised NIHR research with £50 million going into 19 projects, giving a clear signal for other research. The NHS, and in particular the Noble Lord Stevens of Birmingham, launched a welcome five-point plan that Noble Baroness mentioned. And Amanda Pritchard has rolled out excellent long-term long COVID clinics. Treatments like monoclonal antibodies and pulmonary rehabilitation are emerging as a result. And can I pay tribute to Dr. Harry Brunge, who pioneered the Breathe programme at the English National Opera, a fantastic example of social prescribing, which has produced some very promising clinical trial results. Can I thank the Noble Lord Darzar?
Real quick, I want to say, this is British. I have yet to hear an American politician speak this plainly. Like, this is happening in the States, what this man is talking about, and none of our politicians are talking about it. Like, a little bit, maybe. I think Tim Kaine has long COVID and has tried to talk about it, but by and large, it's being ignored. And eventually, it's going to not be ignored. So, like, as people come across this later, even if no one comes across it later, I'd love for you to send me any information from reputable sources that speak to this, because I will be following this extremely closely. It's very near and dear to my heart. So,
who kicked off the important REACT program at Imperial College, which has generated hefty longitudinal population studies. And lastly, can I pay tribute to the patient groups who are both vocal and thoughtful in their response for their testimony. But, my lords, despite these considerable collective efforts, I am sad to say that the long COVID story has become a parable for how the UK health system fails to protect people's freedom from disease and illness. It fails to properly rehabilitate our sick, and we're paying a horrible economic price as a result. My lords, the scale of long COVID is enormous, as the Noble Baroness rightly pointed out, but that clinical response that I referred to is sadly inadequate. The ONS says there are 1.5 million sufferers, yet the long COVID clinics can only see 60,000 patients a year.
jeez.
Patient groups are frustrated that when they do get seen, clinicians don't have the latest pathways that might lead to positive.
Anecdotally, I can back up what this guy's saying. I'm in a lot of the groups on Reddit, the groups on Twitter, kind of where these patients are congregating and looking for answers. And and again, this is anecdotal. I'm saying it, anecdotal. But they are getting frustrated because they're trying, in the States especially, they're trying to find places to go, answers, and there's none. And the people that are even trying and the clinics are available, they're not really, there's nothing to do yet. So anecdotally, I can say, I can back up what he's saying here.
Positive outcomes. NIHR agree with patients that there are a lot of unanswered questions.
Yep.
My lords, we are familiar in this country with the rationing of scarce health resources and the uneven distribution of the latest research.
They're getting beat up like everywhere else.
Uncomfortable though that is. But I would like to focus a few words on the profound economic effects of this troubling British healthcare strategy. The ONS data reports that 500,000 have left the workforce over the last 18 months.
Do you see Loki? Right there. There's Loki.
100,000 have left the workforce.
I love Tom Hiddleston, by the way.
Over the last 18 months, and 75,000 of those are economically inactive due to long COVID. The IFS, the Institute for Fiscal Studies, has a slightly different figure, 110,000, and it says that the cost is almost 1.5 billion in lost earnings a year. Another IFS study suggests that there is an average of 2.5 hours per worker of sick leave due to those who have long COVID. Either way, the OBR has recognised that the welfare cost of long COVID, of COVID in the round, is around £2.7 billion on welfare benefits like incapacity and housing. My lords,
so our
absolutely
disability,
staggering sum. My lords, my point is that we can't shrug our shoulders about the impact of conditions like long COVID on the economy. We have to take on the challenge of making this country more healthy and make a pivot towards prevention. Andrew Haldane, Chief Executive of the Royal Society of Arts, put it well in his recent speech. We're in a situation for the first time, probably since the Industrial Revolution, where health and well-being are in retreat, he said. Having been an accelerator of well-being for the last 200 years, he added, health is now serving as a brake in the rise of growth and well-being for our citizens. And yesterday, Andrew Bailey, the Governor of the Bank of England, told the House of Commons Treasury Committee that part of the reason why the country was being held back was the sharp decline in the size of the workforce since COVID.
What did he just say? Did you catch that? Is the states been having any worker shortages or worker problems? Just saying. You heard it from him.
And yet, despite this, my lords, the Treasury plan for living with COVID makes no mention of investment in rehabilitation or major initiatives for getting the workforce back to work.
Jeez.
Finances in the UK Health Security Agency and the Office for Health Inequalities and Disparities, the main legacy public health organisations.
What did he say?
Does the Noble Lord agree there is a growing concern about the effects of booster vaccinations, the serious side effects they can have?
See, okay, this makes me angry, right? Like, acknowledge what he's talking about. Like, if there's vaccine damaged folks, like, we need to address it. I'm not that guy. If there are, then let's do the data. Let's do the studies. Let's get these folks help. Let's be honest, right? We're all in the same boat. We're all going the same direction. We just need to all be transparent. But I don't like this. This guy, like, you know what? I shouldn't say that. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm probably not wrong, though.
I wonder if he agrees with me that the government should be looking at this very carefully.
Like, come on, man. Like...
My lords, the vaccine programme has been an astonishing success.
See, now we're not talking... This is why. Because now we're not talking about the thing anymore. Because now this guy is derailed from talking about long COVID and getting people help to address this other thing that isn't necessarily related to the first thing. This is a whataboutism. Holy smokes, I hate this. Because it's not an either or, guys. Both conversations can happen. It's not like, let's not do this to each other. Let's finish the one conversation, address what needs to be addressed, and then move on to this other conversation. Again, if it's equally as valid, it's equally as valid, and we don't have to stoop to these techniques. It's dumb, and it's a waste of time, and I hate it. Sorry.
Of those vaccines has shown that there is enormous public confidence in our vaccines, and I will speak at another date about...
Again, like, if there are vaccine injured, I'm sure there are. You can't give a billion somethings of something and not have issues statistically. If these folks need help, let's help them. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about long COVID, and these people need help too. So, dude, go fight your fight. Like, fight it. We'll fight it with you. Let's go. But fight this one too.
Profound impact.
Stop scoring points for no reason. Like, it's not.
But my points here are that just at the moment when we are feeling very heavily the effects of COVID on our workforce and our economy.
Thank you. Back to the point.
Finances at UK HSA and at OHID are under huge pressure. The public health infrastructure built over the pandemic has largely been dismantled. And at the same time, we have an NHS straining to look after the sick, and we have a workforce, many of whom are too sick to work. My lords, by way of conclusion, can I say it is time...
And this is before you factor in the RSV and the flu that's running around.
...that we work towards a new political settlement that prioritises the health of the nation.
What, baby?
Just saw another friend's kid diagnosed with really bad flu they thought was...
Jeez. And again, anecdotally, like, even just around us, just watching Facebook feeds and even just people we know, like, it's getting everybody. You know, it's just like, what are we doing? Like, what have we done? Like, all we had to do was just band together and as humans, because we all want to, like, we have that in common.
Nation.
At least I hope.
Not just the treatment of the sick. And that we make the operational decision
nice.
in health and care to move towards.
Well, that was who was that? I liked him.
Going
He
the
seemed
extra
like a
mile is
rational
more-
dude.
Baron
His
Staunton for
name
bringing
was
about this
Lord
important
Bethel.
debate.
I know a couple of Bethels in real life, and they're pretty great people too. So I just, you know what? When I see them next, I'm going to refer to them as Lord Bethel. I'm going to sit when we see Jerry next. I'm going to call him Lord Bethel. Yeah, he'll dig that. Hi, Jerry. If you ever see this, which who knows, you may. You're a cool dude.
And then Jerry, and he's got the English spelling of Gerald.
That would be perfect. All right, let's take a break from the COVID stuff because it's a bummer. And it is a bummer, but you know what? We're adults and we don't get to ignore things that are a bummer, right? We have to deal with things. You lose the game when you don't play. Anyway, so what is this? It's another magazine. I'm having fun. I get to talk. I never get to talk this much. At least about nothing, right? And I don't have to worry about facial expressions telling me to shut up. Ha ha ha. I'm very awkward socially. Just, I make fun of myself all the time. Anyway, on track. Life magazine. This is what this is. This is 1943. This is World War II. This is before we dropped the bomb. Is that right? We dropped the bomb 1945, right? Yep. So it's 2 years before that. So this would be like right in the middle of it. Yep. I have some of the Life magazine. Excuse me. I have the Life magazine that has the pictures. Like I have the month before the explosion, and then I have the next issue after the it's crazy stuff. And to think it like happened, like it happened. Like ugh. And then to read what the people were saying in real time. Like, imagine if we saw that today. It's not even that hard to imagine with current news and everything. I'm sure we've all kind of already imagined it. But, man, you know what I mean? Ooh, look at that. That's cool. So this is a war bond ad. These are great. People love these. The artwork is great. It's very Norman Rockwell. And Norman Rockwell was making art during this time. I got a bunch. He did a bunch of Boy Scout magazine covers, and I got some of them down here. But that's neat. That's cool. And it's funny because it's a war bond ad, but it's usually bought by like a company, right? So this is actually a silver plate ad. I heard a ding. Is a ding relevant? Did I get in trouble for something? Maybe, I don't know. But it's cool. This is cool. That's a cool ad. I like that. Never heard of this brand in my life. Product of Bristol Myers. And we see her a woman whose smile reflects knowledge and sympathy, whose smile owes much to her use of Ipana and massage. And books. That's cool. I don't know what that ad's about. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Here in a library, past, present, and future meet. A child's inquiring mind gains and understanding for tomorrow. It's telling them to read, so I guess that's good. Hey, look, okay. Another oh, that's neat too. Prophylactic. There we go. Yeah, it's a prophylactic. See, Elmer, prophylactic Prolon is not pig bristle. What the hell? Oh, it's like a toothbrush? For years only hog bristle. Hog bristle. Made fine. All right. Hog bristle. Did you know people used to brush their teeth with hog bristle? You learn something every day. This is a cool ad. BF Goodrich, First and Rubber. The truck that beat the boats to Sicily. These go really well. Like the ones that are in color are better. But this is just so great. And this is, we do have some, that is some little damage there. But in a frame, like, no, honey, it's not. My wife asked if it was tourism for Sicily. Well, I'm looking at a transport amphibious boat. It's a war bond ad. So super neat like this. We'll move on. Go a little quicker here. DuPont, huge company. They're still a huge company, aren't they? I think DuPont's from St. Louis, which is where we're from. Monsanto. Pretty sure. Maybe I'll have to look it up later. I'm not going to do it now. So in these and these, again, this is smack dab middle of the war. So like you can see the preponderance of the war message. I mean, it was unified. Like, and I've flipped through a bajillion of these. I had the good fortune of being, was I right? Yeah, DuPont's from St. Louis, I'm pretty sure.
It's in Peevely.
Peevely?
It's south of St. Louis.
Yeah, and I think Malincrot as well. Like, I'm surprised St. Louisans aren't all glowing. Like, every chemical company in the world is here. Oh, yeah, we actually do have a problem. That's might be something I'll cover at some point. Because I do think we're going to cover news here, too, because it's, you know, that's I'm old now. That's what I do. But we actually, in one of our school districts here, I think one of our elementary schools were actually sent to homeschool. Was it a middle school? I'd have to verify all this. But yeah, they're testing for like radioactive waste. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And it would have been like they made one of the atom bombs here. Like you drive through St. Louis in our area, you see remnants of all that time. Yeah, and even Bush Wildlife, hun. Yeah. So anyway, I'll have to show you guys all that stuff. It's really interesting. This is real life. Like, who needs TV? You know, we probably got radioactive monsters and bunkers, right? Why hasn't that movie been made? Somebody write this shit down. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm losing focus here. Farmers win weed battle with synthetic rubber hose. Kimagum. Goodyear made hoses. Didn't know that. Another War Bond ad. Cool graphic. How good a wartime mother are you? This is interesting because, like, people really came together. Like, if you weren't for the war and doing what you needed to do to support the war effort, including managing how you spent your money to combat inflation, there might be one in here, but there's, like, these inflation ads, which I think are relevant right now because of what we're going through. But, they made people, like, not made, they encourage folks to, like, don't make big purchases, don't spend your money right now, supply chain. And it was interesting because people understood, and I don't know if we as a country could do that now, because I don't know if the nuance would be received, right? And especially our leaders would twist it. I don't know, like, yes, we had this huge common enemy then, and it was pretty blatant, but, like, look what's happening in Ukraine right now. Anyway. And then I walked uphill in the snow 15 miles. This is a really cool ad to the Cobra Cannoneers. I don't think I've ever seen this one. Let's look this one up. This one's neat. All right, let's come over here. To the Cobra Cannoneers, it's an Oldsmobile ad. A toast to the straight-shooting, fast-flying men of the 93rd Fighter Squadron. You're one of the many famous squadrons who fight with flying cannon. Your snakehead's insignia is symbolic of your fighting spirit and of the deadly firepower in the noses of your ships. You can blast an enemy plane with a single round from your fast-firing cannon, and you can stop a tank, destroy a truck, wreck a railway locomotive, or even sink a small ship, all with the power of your cannon. In a world where all the power of your cannon. Anyway, more firepower. So I believe, and somebody smarter than me would correct me, because I believe these are P-51 Mustangs, which the size of their Air Cobra, maybe I'm completely wrong, fighter planes are decorated with the asp, or venomous cobra. Asp, side note, is what killed Cleopatra in the movie play real life. Don't know, can't tell the difference. Symbol of quick death to whomever it strikes. Ooh. That's cool, though, man. Like, if that's a military unit, let's look them up. Cobra Cannoneers. Oldsmobile. Ad. My wife's over there watching Jaden's first stream. So if you're not watching that, she's cooler than me anyway.
She's doing her first subathon.
I know she's doing it for a subathon. I have kids, so we watch her for her own sake. We think she's super entertaining and super talented. And we love her dry humor. So But
Girl gamer streamer.
yeah, so yeah, girl power. I dig it. More power to you. I love y'all's generation. I really do. Gen Z. I'm an old millennial. I was born in 82, so I'm a millennial. I don't know what the hell I am.
Yeah, but we're Team Gen Z.
Yeah, but we're Team Gen Z all the way. This is a great ad. I don't see it anywhere. This is probably, I probably asked $25-$30 for that. I'm surprised there's not any memorabilia for, let me come over here and let you guys see. Like, did I spell that right? Cannoneers? I sure did. Maybe let's, World War II. Let's see if there's even a unit. See that? Because usually you see like patches, something, you know, like, and to see nothing, I guess that's the same plane. Because you wonder how much of it's propaganda versus reality. Like you see other countries do this, Russia, but I mean, who's to say it's not. Wouldn't be illogical to think our own country did it too. We're not special. Oh, well, we are a little special. Oh, there it is. There it is. So about $10. That's interesting. Cool. I wonder again, but again, it's still so weird not to see Cobra Cannoneers. See again, no information on the actual unit. See again, another ad. Anyway, conspiracy. Wah 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 wah. I'm kidding. I'm sure there's a lot of units and there's a lot of stuff that went down. I sell a lot of books and every once in a while you'll just come across a book that you've just never seen. And then it's about some obscure unit in a battle that no one's heard of. And it was written by a soldier that was there. And that book, it usually is low print. Not a whole lot of people outside of the folks that were there, scholars and historians and stuff like that. So there's not a lot printed, but then, fast forward 50 years, 80 years, whatever, more people will over time become more interested, but there's only a finite amount of those books printed. So they become really expensive a lot of times because there's collectors that just have got to have it, and supply, demand, supply is low, demand goes up. Yeah, well, my wife, it's a good point. I mean, like, and also, like, people have kids, people have grandparents, or, that were there. So they, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I got to get my wife a freaking microphone. Next time I do this, I'm going to get a camera and point it right at you. And then we'll get you a little, like, lapel mic, and we'll do, like, a little radio show.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And maybe I'll get you a monitor so you can see what I'm looking at so we can talk about the same thing. Could be fun. We'll just make it a radio show, like a little podcast, stash, just me and you. We'll just talk about bullshit for hours, and who cares if people listen to us? I mean, I'd prefer it, but whatever. Anyway, moving on from this. Huh?
If we make it, they will come.
Our tribe's out there somewhere. We'll find it. Okay, this is cool. Old style bulb, new bulb. I guess those were like the halogen lamps. So that's kind of neat. That's super neat. I like that. Turning the page. Food shortages. That's the other. Well, this was in the war. That's the other thing, man. Like in UK and things like that, they did what was called like a victory garden. Everybody had gardens, man. Like they banded together as a country. They knew this, like the food was getting shipped off to the boys. Fighting the good fight. Fighting against fascism. Fascism is bad. Okay? These guys, they fought against fascism. Greatest generation. Let's not let them down. History. Learn it. Anyway, you're going to hear that a lot here. Sorry, I rant. I've been so disappointed from so many people for so long, and I'm just like, Anyway, I'm grumpy old man. It's fine. I've learned to love myself despite my shortcomings, of which there are many. That's a cool ad. Cadillac with that huge bomber. That's a bomber, right? Got Fritz over here getting shot down. Get wrecked. John Vicker. I should go get my little space age glasses, but we'll do that. That's a really cool ad. Let me look that up real quick. Ooh, my little dragons are still going over on the Raid Shadow Legends, doing a little multi-battle. And no, I'm not sponsored. But I would totally take their money. I can be bought. And I actually do enjoy their game. My account's pretty good. I've been playing for a couple years. Just got Theodore. It was my last level 60 for those that know he is pretty good. Cadillac. I don't know what plane this is. I'm usually pretty good at the planes just because I've seen so much of this stuff. But friggin' cool ad, man. Back the attack with war bonds. Little yellow thing. Anyway. Uh-oh. Little lag pocket. We still here? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. What's that meme that the kids do? My wife on cue doesn't miss a beat. Ad. Okay. So, vintage ad. You are the old one, old lady. You're my old lady, sexy mama. Oh, I've had this one. That's a cool one. The red is a really good. Looks great on a wall. Because that's really what this is. That's where these going. It's in people's collections, you know. So the more visually, so this is a comp. It's similar, but not the same. That's neat though. It's like a tank engine. Oh, you can't really see it. I apologize. Ding. What does that say? No. Sorry about that. We will restart it when I say restart it, not a moment before, computer. Which means really whenever I remember. Excuse me. So I'm not seeing a direct comp. Maybe I should write airplane or something. Or just plane. Oh my. Wah, 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 wah. Oh, there it is. 1943 Cadillac dealer craftsmanship military plane war vintage print ad. Holy keywords Batman. I do the same shit. Here you go. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. So I had this magazine in the booth for months, right? Trying to sell it intact, trying to respect the product, trying to, you know, give the, I'm one of those weird guys. Oh, the poor item, you got to take care of it, give it respect. For like $3 is all I was charging for this magazine. And now we've flipped through it. We have found this ad, which is, you can see it there, 15 shipped. It's 15 shipped. What was that ding? I got another ding. Must find the ding. Anyway. So, and then this ad, which is another, you know, $5-10. So that's right here. This magazine, just the ads in it alone was $15-20. I mean, I got to cut it out. I got to do all the work. Got to sell it. But it's neat, and I'm glad it's not hitting the trash. So DuPont, which is from St. Louis. We did confirm that. It's from Peevely, Missouri. So, let me come back to the table. Sorry about that. That was I only flipped 2 pages, so don't yell at me. Don't yell! Yeah, so that's the DuPont, the antifreeze. Here is Life's photographers never have a dull moment. So this is just kind of cool lifestyle type stuff. Boobies, can't show that. Maybe we just turn the page. So kind of neat. It's neat to kind of look. Defiance. What is this? Is this a war ad? Farnsworth Television. So a bit of trivia, because I'm a nerd. Farnsworth, which if you're my age, you are a huge fan of Futurama, if you have taste. I'm kidding. But Futurama is great. Let's be honest. Professor Farnsworth from the show is actually a reference to Farnsworth, an actual real life Farnsworth, Professor Farnsworth, that invented the TV. Now you know. Whatever that meme is. So that's a really cool ad. And I don't think they were super around as like a company for a while. I want to say there's another guy, Philo or Philco or some, I don't remember. I think he's more the radio. But that's cool. That's neat. That's really neat. Television and radio. You don't see it anyway. Oh, is this just now the table of contents? Wow. No way. I guess so. Look at that. That's weird. Huh. Because you would think that'd be in the front, but I guess they got to get their ads out of the way. That's interesting. Good food here. Allies capture ruins Naples. Look at that destruction. God. Germans wrecked Naples. Strata. I'm not even going to try. When they destroyed all streets and buildings within 300 yards of waterfront. And background, this right here is Vesuvius, it says. Jeez. People live there, man. They probably do now again, but. So, like this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, have you ever heard of the Battle of Chunsi Pass? You know, a lot of us, if they didn't make a damn movie about it, we don't know anything about it, which is there's so many more heroes and so many more stories. And you could sit and consume this content for a lifetime and still not give due respect to all of the men and women that leaders really need to do better. Like, you know, this is sad. Infantry attack, capture of Naples. Hammering at the unseen target, German artillery was replying in German machine guns or shearing green lemons from the trees round about. A few moments after this picture was taken, word came that the German snipers and machine gunners were retiring. The Americans advanced cautiously through the orchard and after a brief skirmish occupied the farmhouse itself. Look at that. Wow. It says here, God, that's cool, isn't it? British surgical team works 24-hour day. That's all the hours, right? 24? That's all the hours. British surgical team works 24-hour day in makeshift operating room with gasoline lamp helping give needed light. Damn. That's crazy. Like they don't even have clothes on. Jeez. Not to get turning it back to the less serious, like stuff like this, if you see these kind of stuff in real life, like they still exist, snag them. People collect them, like the old first aid kits, all that kind of stuff. People don't throw it away. Even the old hospital equipment, don't throw it away. Don't throw it away. Somebody wants it. Even these old light fixtures, you know, people will turn to art. They'll decorate spaces with them. All of it can be put to use. So, sad. Sad. Unknown American airman. Grave near Benghazi. So, Russia's foreign policy. Soviet leader. So this was obviously Soviet Union still existed back in this time. Side note, because I'm going to be a ton of side notes. One of the ways you can identify the age of maps and the age of like globes, because people collect globes and they turn them into lamps and all sorts of other stuff, is look at whether Soviet Union's there or not. And that can kind of give you at least a starting point of how old it might be. So history is important. Like even like we saw that other magazine that talked about the transistor generation. knowing what was available from a technological standpoint when you're out in the field can actually allow you to date certain items just based on how they were built. Like I know a lot of people who specialize in art, and I dabble in art. I love art for a variety of reasons, but even the way the frame is cut, whether it's circular cut versus hand cut, because generally more modern frames will be circular cut because they're done in a mill, and versus hand cut, which will create a more, that kind of pattern. So it's weird. It's like watching Sherlock. Some of these folks kind of put together the little details of, this type of frame with this kind of little pieces of wood were from the Midwest American from this manufacturer. And you're like, holy crap, that's awesome. Can I just get you drunk and listen to you talk? Open invitation, by the way. Eventually, at some point, we'll do interviews and stuff on here, and we'll invite people in to talk about their expertise and all that kind of stuff. What, baby? Yeah. And if you know anybody, send it my way. Like I'm just looking to chill out, meet people, and have a good time. So, just trying to pass the time in a way that's not boring. That's cool. Look at that Texaco ad. People buy the snot out of these. Nice old car. Color. I guess this is what the biz calls a 4-color ad, even though I'm not even sure about that. But it's interesting. I guess it would be just a couple of plates, even though that's kind of interesting. Anyway, like printing process is relevant, right? Like how is something printed will give you an idea of kind of when it was made. So that's cool. That's cool. This is another $5 ad, give or take, And again, you got to cut them out. And then I have like the same comic bags and boards that I would use for comics. They make them in this size. So you just throw them on there and you let people get their own frame. Every now and then, if I really like one and I want to see it framed, I'll frame one and try to sell it framed, but not very often. So let's get through this magazine. I may not be able to do more than 2 magazines a night. Jeez. One, I keep getting sidetracked, but I mean, you're flipping through 100-something pages, even at a second a piece. This is cool. Frozen feet can't fight. Truth. It says, what is that? Is that a G? Gaties? Maybe? I don't know. United States Rubber Company. Frozen feet can't fight. It's cold on the Arctic convoy route. So cold that if a man loses his footing and drops overboard, he can freeze to death in minutes. Damn. I have to buy these. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. The Navy asked us for sea boots. Warm, roomy. You just said I was going to die. Now you're over here talking about warm, roomy enough to be. What the hell? Different time. That's great. When you think of the gay tees you would like to buy, think of sea boots. No, I know. I just think it's, my wife's like, they're right. I just think it's funny, the contrast between in the first sentence telling me I'm going to die, and then in the next sentence telling me that being warm and roomy is the focus. Yeah, I just thought it was unique. I'm not. It's just, emotion sells. My wife is over there just laughing at me. She doesn't think it's quite as absurd as I do, which is fair. Maybe I'm being ridiculous. Huh? I know you're a history nerd, but I'm more, that marketing's intense. And again, they're in the middle of the war, World War II. Everyone's very intense right now. I have to keep that in context. My wife is likely right, which is not a shock. Anyway, this is neat. People love this stuff. Farmers, old advertising. That's obviously that's the Jolly Green Giant, which you guys, I don't even think it's on TV anymore. Yeah, and I think they did a Funko Pop of him in the not too distant past. Thank you. My mind got caught on a thought bubble. This is cool. I love the artwork. But there's not a whole lot I can do with this just because of the way it's laid out. But it's neat to look at. What is this? Basic English, a global language? That didn't work out, friend. I guess it kind of did, though. Sometimes I wonder it's just because we can't learn other languages as easy, and everywhere else is kind of expected. But, I don't really beat up Americans for that because I always get I went to London recently. Not recently, a while back. And I got into an argument with a Londoner at a bar. And it was not a mean-spirited. We were drinking, and it was a good time. We were buying each other drinks. So just keep that in context. It wasn't like a fight. But he was giving me shit because I was telling him that as an American, that was the second time I had left the country, but even just doing it 2 times was more frequent than most. Most people never leave the country, right? So, and he was making fun of us. He was making fun of us for that. And I was like, "Whoa, bro! Whoa! My country is as big as your whole continent. Calm down, right? Like you get to drive across 3 hours and you're in another country. I'm in the middle of the country. It's like days either way or a plane. So and let's be fair. Let's be fair to Americans here. Those of us who have traveled all over the country, and I've been to damn near every 50 states, some as a kid, a lot as an adult, traveling various jobs and adventures. I'm just Forrest Gumping my way through life, and it's worked out so far. Why stop? It's like traveling to another country sometimes. Like I'm from the Midwest. When I go to Texas, it's different. I'm not saying bad. I'm just saying different. You go to Florida, it's different. You go to New York, it's different. You go to Vegas, it's different. So what's a country other than arbitrary lines on a map? If you want to experience different cultures, you can do that in the States. So international folks, maybe calm down a bit. You're not as cool as in this respect, at least. And again, if you're an American and you've traveled, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And again, not saying anywhere's better or worse and none of that. I'm not making any... Ooh, Little Abner. Cream of wheat. I would cut this out, probably. That's kind of neat. Little Abner's a thing. I got a Superman from an old 1936. I don't know if it's quite that old. But that's right. Ooh, here's another good one. Another good one. Don't know what kind of plane that is. When there's a fight, there's a Mitchell. It's a B-25 Mitchell bomber is what it says here. On every battlefront of this global war in heat or cold, sunshine or fog, you will find a B-25 Mitchell bomber. The belligerent Billy Mitchells care little whether they pick a fight with the enemy or step in to finish one. You just hear the music. The Mitchell bomber enters the chat. So anyway, that's cool. Tommy Dorsey, Duke Ellington, Ash. Here's Duke Ellington. So those of you who don't, Duke Ellington was recently featured in Big Mouth, which is on Netflix. It is funny. Maybe watch a few episodes before you let your kids watch it so you can make a good judgment call with good information. Maybe not be for everybody. However, I thought it was hilarious. My family thought it was even more hilarious. Again, not for everybody, but it was for me. And so Duke Ellington was from the show. And that, I don't want to spoil it any more than that. Dina Shore, I'm familiar with. I'm not so... He seems... I heard another ding. What was the ding? I don't know what the ding is. It's all right, though. Someday I will find the ding. Maybe it's my headset running out of juice. I don't know. We'll just go until it explodes. So, guns to build cities, steel to save lives. Alice Chalmers. Okay. We wore on Burns. Okay. Stromberg Carlson, old radio telephone brand. I know them more for their probably more 1910, 1920, 1930, somewhere in that range. Like they're more radiola looking stuff. I turned the music. This is actually kind of sad. So let me read it. I turned the music louder to drown out the silence. It isn't so bad in the daytime, but the evenings are cruel. It's the silence that hurts. The silence that hits you when you enter your apartment. The silence that hangs over you when you eat alone. Silence that screams. Silence that roars. This is an ad. In 1943, World War II. Damn. You turn on the radio to drown it out. Then suddenly you hear music. Music you both loved. Oh, suddenly you're filled with courage and hope. John is coming back. Damn. These dudes, these advertisers pulled no punches, man. He must. He's got to. But dear God, make it soon. Make it soon. By a moment off this... Bro. Oh my God, bro. That's terrible. But dear God, make it soon. Make it soon. By a moment off this war. By a life that need not be lost. By a decent future for America. You can. You do. Every time you put your money in war bonds and stamps. Okay. I take it back. At least it was for war bonds and stamps and not for the radio. That's not as bad. But man, I can't even, I mean, like, that's rough. And then the promise for tomorrow. Today, war production is our only job. Tomorrow, the things we've learned in war will come to you in as fine a radio as you can buy. The same skill that brought you the magic of it. And so it's just, but man, that's hard. Man, they lived this. Whew. So there's a thing called an Overton window, right? Like what's acceptable to talk about in common discourse. And you usually, you know, your political leaders drive this, your advertising drives this. And so when you see an ad from a well-known, very well-respected brand in a magazine that represents what could be considered the zeitgeist or like the spirit of the times, like this was happening like so often that like this was okay to talk about. You know what I mean? And like, this isn't the first time we saw this kind of, it was like all throughout. So, I mean, it just kind of shows you how much that war permeated through the entirety of culture. I mean, down to the cellular level. And I just don't think that's something we can grasp. At least it's hard for me to grasp. Like I can intellectually understand it, but like in my heart to like that feeling. Aunt Jemima. Anyway, like that's, you know, shower thoughts. It's neat. Super neat. Super neat. Another cool one. Ordnance doctors operate under fire with Jeeps from Willys Overland. The Go Devil engine, power heart of Willys cars and all Jeeps. So I wonder from Overland, which this may have been from Kansas or Missouri or somewhere in the Midwest. And there's an Overland, Kansas, and I think there's an Overland, Missouri too. But anyway, I wonder if they were able to print ads that were more locally focused. Like was Willis Overland like a local dealer? So I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it was a big national brand. Because I thought maybe Jeep, because like Chrysler's is Jeep, right? But maybe they mean Jeep, not brand Jeep, but just a Jeep. So I don't know. Anyway, who's that guy? Lord Calvert. It's for booze. Scotch, I guess, probably. U.S. has lost third of topsoil. This is something we're dealing with even now. Huh. Well, with 9 inches of topsoil, 6 inches of topsoil. I wonder how many inches. Let's find out. How many inches of topsoil do we have left? So, and again, this is Googled. None of this is substantiated. Like, don't like make a religion off this or something. How long until we run out of topsoil? Without healthy soil, farmers won't be able to grow nutrient-dense food. Yep. 60 years. Womp, womp, womp. How do you fix it? Soil is considered black gold. I tell you what, I've recently become a gardener, and I have come to learn to respect the value of good dirt. Good dirt's good dirt. And if you garden, you know what I mean. That's an issue. No dirt, no food. God, I hope none of this is true. 60 harvests, topsoil was thinning 0.5 centimeter. 60 years. This might be something we need to study. I wonder how we got dirt in the first place. We might have to do a dirt episode. Just study dirt for a day. Anyway, now that we're sufficiently depressed, Old St. Croix, more booze. Maybe that's the solution. This is a cool ad. It's got a lot going on. At first glance, I mean, you just think it's like Bacardi or something, but Tommy Dorsey, he was on another one. Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland. Those are names. Look how young, bro. A gay fanfare of laughter, dance, and song. Whirls of girls and a riot of fun. All set to the tune of Glorious Gershwin. Another big name. Another gem from MGM. That's neat. Let's look that one up. Let's look it up. Oh, what's the name of the show? MGM's Girl Crazy. I think I've heard of that show. Tommy Dorsey. 1943. Now, see, like, the problem with this kind of stuff is you get real specific. The people that would collect this stuff are they're moving on. Like, they're kind of aging out of Earth. And I don't say that to be disrespectful, but, like, you would think, like, these are big names. Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland, who, of course, was Wizard of Oz. Gershwin's big. But the generation that knows that these guys are big, well, I stand corrected. Take everything I said back and punch me in the face. I completely stand corrected. Look at that. But again, it's listed. It doesn't mean it's selling. Here's another one. But again, is anybody buying them? I guess that is kind of my point. And if you go to sold, you can see that is less of a case. So this is a cool one. Old Seagram's ad. I like that graphics. Throttle the Axis as you auto. That's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but Axis, they're referring to the Axis powers, I would assume, which would be the enemies in World War II. In that story, what is that? Ground troop signals for emergency battle communications. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, no. There you go. My bad. See, when I get a chat, y'all yell at me not to do that shit. So I look forward to that someday. Someday. Superhuman powers. That's a cool ad. Bendix. So one of the next videos I've got queued up that I wanted to watch is obviously RSV. This is kind of going back to health stuff. That's cool. I guess that's a granary. It's kind of neat. I love seeing how the sausage is made. That's a big sausage. TNT is tamped down with wooden pestle into solid mass inside 500-pound bomb. You want that job? This one here says liquid TNT is discharged from melter into large cooling tank. The melting point of TNT is 188 degrees. Dang. Random Jeopardy question. In the shell case, after it has been cooled and solidified, it looks like hard maple sugar. That's Jeopardy question. There you go. So that's all pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm not sure what's going on there. Primers are most tricky explosives. Look at all those books. My favorite thing in the world is to look at people's bookcases and buy them. I like to buy people's bookcases. Like with the books on them. Just take them all. Just leave them there. I'll grab them. We'll be doing some videos and some content about all that here in the near future now that I've kind of got my shit together. Took a while. There's a lot of background stuff that has to happen to do all this. Not just this, but all of this. And I know you don't know what any of this is yet, but we'll get there. Apple honey. Protect the freshness that protects your enjoyment. Oh, here's what apple honey does for tobacco. Smoking was a much bigger thing back in the day than it is now. That's all right. Chant of the Aztecs, Canadian Club whiskey. Didn't expect to see those two things together. Alrighty. Bow. Western Electric, that's cool. Kind of a pilot thing going on. That's neat. Somebody will buy that. Another $5. So, Sperry Corporation. Englander? Don't know what that. Oh, it's a mattress. It's kind of neat. Praying. You don't see that a lot in ads anymore. Guess that's one thing the people on the right complain about. But, you know, there are other religions in Christianity. You know, I don't think anybody minds seeing people pray. Just let everybody pray, you know? Oh, that's cool. Look at that. Nice 7-Up ad. Fresh up with 7-Up. Fresh up and smile. I think one of those cool YouTuber people did a video on like the history of all that. That was really neat to listen to. I'll see if I can't find that at some point. That's cool. Rosenbach's old manuscripts. Moldy and smells of history. They had a style back then, didn't they? Oh, look at that. That's so cool. Look at that. That's probably my favorite. I might keep that one. To be honest, I keep some stuff. That's cool. It's an auto car brand. Serviced by factory branches from coast to coast from Ardmore, PA. I guess also like people, there's so many of these. I guess people really did just want to help too. And they wanted to be seen helping. Which, I mean, you can't blame folks, I guess. Wines with the past. Oh, look at that spread. That's wild looking. That almost looks modern. It's not, but it looks. That's neat. That's super neat. Oh, we're getting towards the end. Johnny Walker ad. That's cool. So I didn't cut any of these out, so I'm going to have to flip through these again later to find these. But I thought that was cool. Those are neat. Nice Coke ad. Coke ads sell really well. This is a big old cool thing. So, all right. Let's flip over here. How long have I been doing this for? Hour and a half. Okay. We'll go to 30 minutes. We'll go to 2 hours. All right, let's flip over here. So, all right, we're on the screen. Let's go. WashU is from St. Louis. All right, let me maximize that so you can see that. Oh, no. Dude, was that my headset? I think that's my headset. It's going to be a game changer. WashU leads Pfizer RSV vaccine trial in St. Louis. I am from St. Louis, so this is local news to me. I do know just from following the news, and we'll maybe take a look at that here in a second as well. RSV is just going crazy right now. And there isn't a vaccine. So this is not something, this is new. So let's just
JCPenney Beauty has everything to make your gift giving bright.
Blah, 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 blah. No audio for you. I need to just pay these and not deal with this. Don't let me skip it. I want to skip it. Oh, okay, shit.
She'll say RSV.
All right.
St. Louis health officials say RSV cases are filling up children's hospitals. Fortunately, there could be a potential vaccine to prevent the virus. Just a few hours ago, Pfizer announced promising data about its recent trials.
So I haven't watched this, but let's be clear. It's going to be important where they are in the trials, right? Because this stuff takes a while. So it's like news reporter needs to maybe not. Again, let's listen to it. But that's my concern already with how this is messaged, is that depending where they are in vaccine trials, it could be years before this stuff comes available. And then you also have to understand, even if it's approved, say by some magic wand, it would be approved tomorrow. We have to take logistics into consideration. You have to get the vaccines made in mass. You have to get them to where they can be administered. You have to have staff to actually administer the shots. These things take time. They take money. They take planning. So she's already kind of framed it in such a way as like, ooh, they're going to come. And that's probably not the case. I could be wrong. And if I am, I'll take back everything I said, even though whether it's true, I mean, it's true all the time. These things need to be taken into consideration, but it's going to be important where exactly they are in the trials.
Cornell joins us in studio. And Justina, you learned some of the vaccine work happened right here in St. Louis.
True.
That's
Pfizer's
right. And so back in 2020, Pfizer started trials worldwide to get more answers.
Oh, say that again. That was the answer. Hopefully it was 1992 and not 2022, but I missed it.
Worldwide to get more answers on a maternal RSV vaccine.
I don't know what that means.
And right here in St. Louis, WashU got involved as one of the sites for the clinical trials.
Wait, did they not give a date?
Data about its recent trials. Our Justina Cornell joins us in studio. And Justina, you learned some of the vaccine work happened right here in St. Louis.
That's right. And so back in 2020, Pfizer started trials worldwide to get more answers on a maternal RSV vaccine.
So there you go. So it's 2020. Where are we in those trials? You know, which phase, like the whole deal? Like, was it warp speeded, sped? Would that be the proper English? I don't know.
Right here in St. Louis, WashU got involved as one of the sites for the clinical trials.
At her desk, Dr. Carol Kao sees firsthand the trial results she was a part of.
Will be a lifeline for pediatricians.
It will be.
The Washington University pediatric infectious disease doctor at St. Louis Children's Hospital led local efforts for the first maternal RSV vaccine by Pfizer.
Currently, there really are no vaccine or effective therapeutics for the treatment or the prevention.
And again, I'm not a doctor, but my understanding is it's like rest up, fluids, that's the usual rest, and of course they say like if you have any trouble breathing and like get a doctor, like don't be dumb. Kids get hit worse than adults, but even adults are getting hit hard.
Of RSV.
A small group of St. Louis pregnant moms enrolled, just some of 7,400 participants worldwide.
RSV vaccine trial started in June of 2020.
Okay,
we followed the moms for 6 months, and we followed their babies for at least 1 year.
Tuesday, researchers released the data.
The vaccine, when given to pregnant women, protected their babies from getting severe respiratory syncytial virus,
which is RSV.
To 80% in the first 3 months of life, up to 70% up to 6 years. The time period when these babies really are the most vulnerable.
It comes at a time when RSV cases are spiking. The St. Louis Pandemic Task Force even
So shout out to these folks. I've been watching them since the beginning of COVID. I believe the doctor's name is Dr. Adam Garza. is his name. Wonderful doctor, level-headed. I believe he's ex-military. I know he got called up recently. He's back now, but just really cool dude. Just really even-keeled. Anyway, I watched literally every single one of those Pandemic Task Force. I can't remember the other doctor's name offhand, but he seems pretty well put together as well.
Hosting a briefing Tuesday about the issue.
Children's hospitals are getting full, and that, combined with an expected heavy flu season and COVID, is that triple-demic that people talk about.
Yep.
Dr. Kale worries for the littlest ones.
In young babies can cause very severe disease because of their small airways. It's the number one cause of hospitalizations in infants in the United States.
She believes if the vaccine is approved now, it could impact the future.
If it could be available for next season.
Right there. Okay, so they were honest, right? They were honest. It's not for this season, which is my point. So like it's already, we're baked in for whatever happens. This is hopeful for next year. So which is good. It's still great. I'm glad it's still happening. Like it's not a bad thing. It's just sometimes the news, like it's you're not paying attention. You can kind of walk away with the wrong impression, but like the details matter.
We may be seeing a very different RSV season next year.
Pfizer plans to submit for FDA approval by the end of the year, and if approved, Pfizer vaccine will be the first to prevent RSV infection.
That's good.
So sweet, so crispy.
No more ads. Even though that does look good, whatever that is. So, okay, that's good news. That's real good news. Because the issue is just to kind of show you what's been going on. And believe me, I do not get my totality of my news from just YouTube, but what am I doing? Explore. Jaden's live. Where am I going? Explore. Watch later. Dun, 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 dun. Man, I am not sure what I'm finding here. Oh, so many subscriptions. Anyway, I was looking for the little the Explore thing. What's this? We're always on fire. I'll have to watch that later. If you don't watch this guy's really cool. He's pretty even. He doesn't get everything right. He doesn't quite, but he's good. He's fair. Keeps the emotion and the politics out of it. So, anyway, so we're done here. We're done that. So this is the other thing I wanted to talk about. Two more things. Is just this is a thing. Just kind of, if you get bored, look that up. We'll be talking about this more and more as more information comes out, like things like from the Lord guy that was cool. This Lord Bethel guy. If you are currently dealing with any of these things, I would encourage you get involved on Reddit. There's a bunch of subreddits. I think long haul COVID, long COVID, zero COVID. There's a couple of good ones for those that are trying to chill out. And then there's not a lot of places for the immunocompromised to hang out anymore. Those are a few places that are left. And Twitter's being kind of weird. That used to be a really good one for the doctors, like following breaking news from reputable doctors. I'm not giving up on Twitter yet completely. We're still here. Let's see if anybody's yelling at me. Yep. Yeah, I argue with folks. That's bad, but I shouldn't do that. But the reason I bring all this up is to bring up BNO, which is a news aggregator. All they do is report like this is breaking, kind of like an AP. But this is one of the things that is happening right now in the UK. I'm not pointing this out to raise alarm, but this is one of the things. I kind of track monkeypox as well. Monkeypox has a few more cases in California. But this is like what you did not want to see, right? And this it's being reported by multiple sources. I'm not sure that the Telegraph is the best. I don't know. It might be the greatest. Hopefully somebody else can tell me. I will look it up. But this is being reported on multiple places, reputable places. So just something to kind of keep an eye out. I mean, if this ends up being an issue, it's going to be down the road. So, but just don't ignore it. Don't let it, consume more of your mind than necessary. But, so yeah, what do we want to do? What do we want to do to wrap it up? I'll just show you some quick covers. We're going to end up going through all these magazines, but I got to figure out a way to cut them. Because I can't be going back through this a second time. The whole point is to not have to do that, and I just did it because I just wanted to get through them. So anyway, we got a ton of these, and these are all from 1960. These are Boy's Life. These are all ones I've tried to sell intact, so nobody wants them. So it's time to either just bulk them out, or, ooh, that's a cool one, Rolls Royce. A lot about its cover appeal. People like the covers. So we have, I don't know who that is. Georgie boy. So I got a whole stack, and we'll kind of go over these over the next couple of days, and we'll cut all that out. And so, yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to do for the stream. It was kind of fun the first time. Hopefully I will, I'll be doing more and more of these. We're basically going to be doing just books, current news, stuff that's coming in and out of the shop, current events. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now. We will be following COVID news and some health news. What else will we do? We'll play some games every now and then. I don't play as much as I used to. But, yeah. So, yeah, it was a good time. Nobody came to watch, but that's okay. I had a great time. And we'll see you next time.